Good morning. Today is Tuesday, July 5th, and I have a few more interesting things to do today. I have to make the graphics for like a one-off free shit for a pretty cool project. I think that so an interesting thing about free shit is that my plan, especially with having like that name have such a loose meaning, the plan is to change the print every 50 petals, give or take, and I'm sure in the future I'll bring them back, but I have a few ideas for like the next run and what free shit will kind of symbolize. So I may go ahead and have the one printed with new artwork because I really don't want to do more than 50 with any artwork on it, or any of the same artwork. So we're already at 50 of the old one, need to change it up. So I might take you through a little bit of like my drawing process and how I generate petal graphics. I also need to make a new PCB design for the like always on Ahab we were working on. May or may not show you that. That's a pretty boring, very low parts count PCB design. It'll take like 10 minutes probably. And yeah, so besides that, I have some graphic work to do for Obscura Manufacturing, I believe, just some like templates. So nothing big there, but you know, stuff you may not have seen yet. So anyway, let's get to it. A little bit about my drawing process, well, in regards to petals anyways. I've gone through several different phases of how I like get my ideas onto the petal. I started in 2018 hand painting petals, and quickly got tired of that. It was okay, but it's not the greatest finish on a petal, and there was no way for me to achieve like the level of detail that I want to achieve, which ultimately that's my goal, is to have an extreme level of detail. And I think I'm there now, and it just took a long time to kind of find my way to get there. So I started hand painting. I then moved to screen printing, and that's when I had to become more familiar with Illustrator and kind of like the digital aspect of artwork. Never really did it before petals. I then recently, so as of 2022, I have moved to UV printing, which really opens up my capabilities quite a bit. And I know that there's people who like the shop making it like everything themselves, which I do like that aspect of it, but I just don't have the time anymore. Not even like the growing business necessarily, just I don't have time with family obligations, and not even obligations, like basically last year I was working until all hours of the morning, which I still do pretty often, but I was working until all hours of the morning doing enclosures, and for me and other people. And you know, like working for yourself, if you can't spend time with, you know, the 3-year-old son downstairs, what's the point of working for yourself? You know, I could go get another job and get off at 5 o'clock and, you know, be with my son all night. So that had to stop. So we moved to UV printing. I moved to UV printing, and the level of detail that I'm getting is really crazy. It is kind of allows me to go deeper in the beginning. So like when I was screen printing, when I started, I was doing really basic stuff, and that was mainly just because I knew I needed to get clean print, and I needed to get like clean prints after print after print after print, and I was doing really basic stuff. And then I kind of honed my skills screen printing and got pretty good at it, and that allowed me to do some decently detailed stuff, but there would be like some inks are thicker, you know, and you can mix them, but you just kind of do it by eye, so they don't turn out the same every time necessarily. So like some inks will be thicker, so I want this level of detail, but then I go to do it with, blue ink, and it's a lot thicker than like a yellow ink, so I can't achieve the level of detail that I did with the yellow ink, and just things like that. So printing it that way wasn't great. All of this to say, the process basically looks like this. I have an iPad Pro from 2020 or 2019. I think 2020 I bought this. I'm not sure. And this is the most recent process that I have. So basically, I don't really think about the art too much. I have ideas going through my mind all the time. I'll write it in my phone notes, or else I'll never think about it again. And then when it's time to do something, I'll revisit it and see if inspiration hits. If there's ever a point where I'm not drawing fluidly and I don't want to draw, and which is often, really, if it's ever feeling like I'm forcing it, it's not time yet, and I just don't do it. So I'm gonna try today, see what comes out. But I had this idea with, or I didn't finish the process. So iPad to Illustrator, and that's the most basic way to do it. And as far as setting your your artwork up for print, it's kind of the same for UV as it would be silk screening, from my understanding, where you kind of want to layer everything. I think the main difference is that I think UV kind of needs a white undercoat under everything that's printed, I believe. So yeah, iPad to Adobe Illustrator, and that's kind of it. Most of the time, if there's a lot going on, like in Fever Dream or Sleepwalking, most of the time I will split it into several drawings, just because one, it's easier to manipulate the sizing and everything, and I really like having powder coat showing through on some of the work. And two, it my attention span is limited, so if I spend if I just drew everything in one drawing, I would basically have a really detailed part, where I started, and then towards the end of it, it would taper off, and at this point, I just wouldn't give a shit how it looked. And I know that about myself, so we split it up, do several different drawings, and then I'll manipulate them and kind of bring them together to make a single picture. So however incomplete that information was, do with it what you will. The main idea with the next iteration of Free Shit was going to be kind of like trash on a curb, and I may have somebody sitting in a lawn chair, because I haven't done a person in a good, which is, that's the main thing. That's the main thing that I draw, and I haven't put a person on a pedal in a good while. So I was thinking about where you would see someone throwing all their stuff out at the curb, just a big pile, something like that, with a sign that says Free Shit, and maybe a sun tanning man kind of sitting there. That's kind of the loose idea. So I thought of that one, and then basically I want a pile of trash. I know that. The other one I was thinking of was to have kind of that same thing going, a pile of shit on the curb, and then an actual trash can, maybe even with someone inside where you just see their eyes. And yeah, well, I'll see what happens with that. The project that I'm working on, or it's not my project, but I'm supporting a guy doing a project, and I told him that I would have a one-off made for a raffle he's doing, and I'm kind of thinking to even just like fully do a one-off and it be never used again, unless it were something like for that. So anyways, I'm kind of thinking or liking the idea. It's a demo project. That's all I'm going to say about it. But it's a demoer essentially, and you know, they have lots of pedals because people send them pedals. So I was even thinking about like kind of like an old like city background, maybe even like in Italy or something, like a street view kind of a city, and then like dumpsters lining the left hand side, or no, it would need to be the right hand side because of the knobs, and just like piles and piles and piles of guitar pedals, you know, in there. I think that would be kind of fitting for the project. Kind of boring, you know, like not as funny as I think the other ones are, but maybe I could make it work. Or even better, I got it. Okay, so even better, I will do a caricature of that demoer and maybe playing guitar and like busking on the street, and the busking is like, you know, like the free shit, you know, if that makes sense. I might do that. So I'm gonna start a little bit, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes. I don't really want to draw with someone looking over my shoulder, so I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I've been here for probably 20 minutes, something like that, and I decided to go a different direction. I'm going to have like kind of a cityscape, but at least 3 different cities, and probably like 4 different cities with different perspectives. And to do that, I'm not drawing 4 different cities. I don't have time to do that. Plain and simple, I don't have time to do that, especially for a pedal that I'm not going to make any money on. It'll only be printed once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a few cities that work in Adobe stock, and that'll just kind of like set up the background, and then I'm going to draw the demoer's face, maybe like shoulders up, and I want to kind of like distort his mouth and have guitar pedals for teeth, something like that. So nothing too exciting yet, but I think that could be pretty cool. So I just have to find like some cityscapes that work, and I want them to be like very obviously different. Like, if that makes sense, I want them to like be several different styles drawn, but not like, I don't know how to describe it, but I know what I'm looking for. So I've just got to find a couple of things, and then I will work on drawing the character. So yeah, that shouldn't take too terribly long. I started to draw like a cityscape, and I made it through a couple lines, and I was just like, I would probably spend like 10 or 15 hours doing that, and I just do not have the time. So, you know, this is how I'm going to do it, if I can. So, other than that, try. Other than that, city background shouldn't take that long. The face is going to be a lot of fun. That's more along the lines of the kind of thing I like to draw. So I think that'll be a good good way to go about it. And you know, it's for a one-off kind of thing, like I mentioned, so it might be a little more special, you know, if I focus on that. Alright, so I've kind of got like a rough cityscape mapped out. What I'm going to do now is basically the easiest way to color things in, because I think at this point I want it to be full color. The easiest way to do it is to mirror my iPad to the computer. So I can set that up, it'll mirror it, and then excuse me, sorry. So basically I can mirror the iPad, and then I can use like the pencil to actually color in live. Okay, so it's working now. I don't know how well you can even tell, but basically this is mirroring the computer, and so I can then go through pick different colors. Good Lord, it is running slow. Pick different colors and literally just go through here and color everything in and get it nice and not black and white. So I'll work on that for a little while and then I'll show it to you. For whatever reason, I completely forgot that this project is not it's not released yet, so I really don't know how much I can say. I finished the cityscape and I've started a rough draft. You probably can't even see. Let me see. You probably won't be able to see, but I've started a rough draft and I really like where it's going. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably finish filming the process and then catalog it, and I'll show you whenever it gets released, because I don't want to spoil anything for that project. So yeah, this is taking a little longer than I thought it would, so I'm pretty much wrapping up for the day. I've got a couple of orders to ship, but other than that, there's nothing else to show you today. So maybe tomorrow we'll hit the PCB. Like designing is actually pretty fun, so that may be interesting to some of you. Anyways, have a great day, and hope to see you next time.